Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Women in Tech session. Here, we are going to talk about how women have entered the tech space. And if not, being at par with men, we're well ahead. So thank you all, ladies, for joining the call. Would love to start with discussing what really sparked your interest in joining the tech industry. So anyone who wants to start, what really inspired you to join the tech industry?
I would say never planned, but it had to happen. Did engineering. After that, I don't think I had any other option. So what sparked was probably how the industry was moving then. That's the reason for me.
All right. Who else?
So for me, it was my computer science teacher in 11th standard. I took computer science willingly, first thing. And then she was an amazing teacher. I fell in love with queries, with code and everything. And then I gave all the entrance exams. In the college that I got selected in, I only filled one stream, that was computer science, because I was hell-bent that I'm going to be in this industry no matter what. And that's here I am now.
Thank you, Shubhi.
Similar to what Shubhi was mentioning, had I not taken HR and commerce, I would have done software engineering. So I thought if I've not touched based on that side and not gotten into, the real on-ground struggle of being a software engineer, why not recruit them? Why not get into tech industry and, be with them? Because generally engineers are very logical. And I really like that fact about people. I'm a people person. So I thought, why not go that route? And plus, cybersecurity are safe, right? So it is one step ahead, I feel. So that really inspired me to get into this.
Amazing.
I'll go next.
Okay.
I think out of everyone else, I'm the only one who did not have maths in 11th and 12th, and yet here I am in tech. In your face, all those people who said I couldn't do science without maths. But yeah, so I have two careers and I'm balancing both, and I enjoy both. The way I came into tech is by chance, but what's more important is why I stayed in tech. As I got into this field, I started reading up, and of course my job involves writing about it. So of course I read a lot about it. And the way that the industry and the world is going, it's all tech. And that's why I stayed. Most of us didn't know what we were doing when we were in school, when we joined tech. But what matters the most is why we have still stuck to it. And although it's just been maybe a couple of years for me, but I really enjoy working in this field. It's fast, it's dynamic. You need to be at par with everyone else. And honestly, it's one of the few places where your work is very gender agnostic. If you're a good coder, you are a good coder. And I might be using a very basic terminology here, but it doesn't matter if you're a girl or a boy, or otherwise. But yeah, so that's why I stayed. I like the industry. It's very relevant.
Well, it's really nice to know that you didn't have maths. So you're lucky. You didn't have to go through that. Anyone else who wants to share why they, joined the tech industry in the first place?
So maybe I can go next. So similar to what Shweta was saying, I didn't know what I was doing in, my school. So I, opted PCMB, wanted to, build career in medical sciences, but gradually, I developed interest in tech when I was, working. I was, working in, I was graduating basically. So like, with time, I thought maybe, maybe directly or indirectly, I can, work in the tech industry, opted, HR, and here I am. So just wanted to, connect with people that are working in tech. That has, always be my, it was always fascinating for me. So that sparked interest in me.
Amazing, Ashi.
I'll go next.
Yes. Hi, Erica. Go first.
Hi. Like some of the others, it was chance that I ended up here. I used to be in the oil industry, and that was very exciting. And it was very physical, a lot of traveling and on-site around the world. But I also love to research, and I started in cybersecurity and rapidly discovered that it's exploring a whole world inside your head and inside your mind that is infinite. And I love just playing in that world. I used to think that if I was younger, I would have gone to computer science in school, and suddenly realized one day that I'm actually doing it, even though I don't have a computer science background. So I just love it. And like oil, it is a heavily male-dominated industry. So I guess I'm used to that.
Yes, that is true. Aina, Rachita, Sanjana, Rajshri, anything that you want to, highlight?
So I am a non-tech person completely.
Mhm.
I landed here by chance, and but I love the fact that I find this industry very dynamic, like full of ideas all the time. Up to something. So, and for me, it has been a great learning. So, and that has actually, made me stay here, honestly, because it's every day I learn something new, you know. So it's a great place to be in for me.
Good. I think.
I think I go on the similar lines as Rachita, because when I was, as a lawyer, I would say, especially in India, where the technical regime is very upcoming, you'll have to take it heads on, because even the policies that are upcoming, they are still in the corridors of the parliament. They're still developing. So I think we're all going by experiences, and I wanted to have that experience like head on. So I think that's why I'm here.
Well done. I think you're getting that head on, and you're missing out on that aspect. Rajshri, Sanjana, anything?
About to say that as a child, I always felt that engineers are cool.
All right.
That's the very first reason. And when I was graduating, at that moment I didn't had a CSE background, but I like coding. So that is the reason why I'm here now. So that's all.
All right.
Really cool. So I would like to add about my thoughts. Even since my childhood days, it was like what you want to become. So either an engineer or a doctor. And in engineer, I wanted to come in IT stream only, but somehow I couldn't. I come from an engineering background, but I've done my bachelor's in instrumentation. So luckily, I ended up with one of the resellers who were into IT, again, cybersecurity. And as Rachita also mentioned, every day it's new to learn, because the technology is a boom, and every time it's new, they are coming up with new trends. And that's where when I actually saw profile about SAFE as well, I was very much intrigued and very much eager to join and learn what is something different that SAFE is doing. So in the resellers companies, it's been all storages, servers, this, that. So I was fed up, and I was like, I want to learn something new. So that's where I got this platform, and just to how I got into tech industry. So luckily, I would say, because I wanted it as a gut feeling in my childhood days. I really wanted it. I somehow couldn't get it in my engineering days, but luckily I ended up, and I'm glad I'm here because I'm learning a lot. Either it's from the mentors and Saket as well. So it's good to be here and a part of SAFE team as well.
Amazing. This is really good, guys. Obviously, you've been in the tech industry for a while now, for all of us. How much do you think the industry has changed over the couple of years that you've joined the tech industry, and especially for women? How has this industry changed, or how accepting has the industry been?
Okay, so I'll go first here. So I don't know about acceptance, but what I know is that now each and every woman in this industry has recognized that there exists a kind of bias, and we have kind of created an ecosystem within ourselves wherein a women can connect to women and talk about the problems. We don't have to go and say that we have these many problems. There are women already ahead of us who have solved those problems for us, who have given us a path to go there. I mean, there are women starting their career at 50. So it's all excellent. Now we don't need the acceptance. Now we have found a way to create our own space.
Very nicely
So
said.
this is
Yeah,
my
and I
thought.
was also saying the same, that I think the acceptance is there. Sometimes I feel it's for the woman to feel accepted. It's not the outside, it's the inside you that needs to be, elevated, and you need to first feel accepted. I don't think in my whole career I have felt biases per se. There might be places where I was not good or I was very good, and I was, able to take those choices also. Those options were available. I was given those choices. I know, right when I was expecting my twin boys, my manager was so nice. I think I got the maximum hike after that because my efforts were recognized. And it was difficult having twins and being in the industry. I would say that organization of mine really appreciated the fact as a woman. And that's why I say acceptance is there. If women are not feeling that, I think they have to break their own barriers, the shells they have around them, they have to break and come out of that, and the whole world is there to embrace you.
I agree with Sunita. I think that there are obviously some biases. A few people just have biases, but for the most part, it comes from within you. And if you know what you're talking about, you're confident, you've done your work, it shows. And ultimately, people are interested in what you have to offer. And they rapidly stop, I think, seeing you as a woman, and they start just listening to you as a colleague. And I know that from my standpoint, it's safe. I've never encountered anything except that feeling here. And even in talking now to clients, the same acceptance. So actually, while there aren't as many of us as there are men, if you just look at the Google screens, I've never felt that a woman has been put down because she's a woman or ignored. But that's my experience.
Thank you, Erica.
But I think that's what we have changed for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We have made sure to make a noise where we can, to take our stand instead of waiting for someone to come to us and tell what is to be done. And kudos to every woman who have been ahead of me, who has done this for at least us, so that we can get inspired by them.
All
And
right.
it's a long list. It's really a long list. Every organization that you will see, there are some women doing exceptionally very different.
Yeah. Of course, guys, even when I talk to all of you, and whether you're an engineer or you're a part of the HR team or you're part of the content team or you're part of sales, there is so much work that goes into, sort of understanding, let's say, the tech industry. And it's not different for men either. The understanding has to be the same. You're at the same platform where you probably, like Erica said, there are biases with some people. But having said that, the platform is the same. So it sort of enables you to do, better. And I'm glad that all of you are feeling like that. Anyone else who wants to share, how the industry changed since they joined?
You really need this answer from an experienced person.
I know. So let's move on then. The most
I would like to say, because I have experience, I cannot deny that. So
Okay.
how it has changed, it's just not this tech industry, it is the education itself has changed. The willpower that I want to do PCMB has changed. Then, comfortable with arts, then get married. Even that was an option given to me. What do you want to do? We can get you happily married, or you can go ahead and, choose your dreams. And I had to choose the other way. So it has changed a lot. Today, when I see young women like, all of you, Shuvi included, I feel proud. I mean, it gives me that motivation. Yes, we are moving in the right direction. But if you go back to, one level down, where, we are not in a family where we are today, there are challenges. So for them, I think, I would say it's one generation that has to break it. And then the next generation just takes it over. So I would just hope that every family who is close to you, probably close to me also, if one generation can take the hit, I would say it's bright future for women as well. I mean, bright future for everybody for that matter.
Very well said, Sunita. I
I
think.
think I'll add to this, Payal,
Mhm.
because I feel not just IT, I feel it's the entire corporate framework. I think it's very important when any industry is trying to outgrow itself from what it was, understanding the biological differences of men and women. And by understanding, I think what I mean is that, there are legal frameworks now, recognizing your maternity needs, you know that is something I've seen a lot of startups now giving period offs to women. So I think that's very important. People are not undermining the fact that because you have a biological difference you will be less productive. All those aspects, I feel that they're very acceptance not just comes from motivating people, but understanding the differences that we have as men and women. So I think we're gonna go stronger than wherever we are now. So things are changing. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Aina.
Can I ask a question
Sure, of course, go for
to
it.
everyone? So, would you feel that being a woman makes you overcompensate by working harder than you would? Is that something you have felt?
Yeah, yes. I
Is that
have.
because you're a
I'm
girl?
nodding. Yes.
So I feel that too, because sometimes I feel that it's not just work, right? You shut your laptop, but then you do have so many other things to do at home. And I don't know if it's social conditioning or it's just that we are working remotely, so therefore we are at home and maybe our partners are outside, that the household chores responsibility, inevitably the majority of it falls on us. So it's not just this work, you have to excel here and elsewhere. So and it's nothing but excel. Like if you fail even once, there are 100 people ready to point fingers at you. That, oh, I trusted you to do this, but you have your family to take care of. Why is that wrong? Why is it wrong to take arts and choose to get happily married? It's a choice. But the change in the industry is that now it's a choice. Earlier it was not there. There was no choice. Now if I choose to get married and not work, it's my decision, not because I didn't have an option. And that's something that we can all agree on, that the industry overall, all industries, the country as country, like everywhere, there is that growth that is happening. A little late, but der hai durust hai for I don't know how to translate it into English.
Never too
Better
late.
late than never.
Never too late, better late than never.
So I think for that matter, like kudos to the generation ahead of us, that worked really hard to break that bias, so that we can maybe choose our career and live our life the way we want. So like just a big kudos to everyone that created an environment where we are not being biased as per the gender.
And I completely, agree with Ashi. When I was a kid, I used to hear about Lakshmi Bai, Rani Lakshmi Bai. Then there was a one chapter on Rani Chennamma. I used to think like that because I didn't see the woman in my family to be, to be having an opinion for that matter. But when I used to read about them, I used to feel, very motivated, probably beat my brothers as well. So definitely that makes that big impact, that you are looking up to those people who can change your mindset, who can change your lifestyle.
Absolutely. When we even talk to our mother-in-laws for that matter, right? So they end up telling us that, we never had a choice. You guys are so lucky that, you can choose what you want to do. If you want to stay back, you can. So that's like adding on to what Shweta was saying. I truly agree that, the overall shift is there. It's not just the tech industry, but the overall ecosystem has changed.
All right. So my next question was actually around the same thing, which means obviously all of you are taking care of families. You're taking care of parents, grandparents, siblings. Some have pets, some have plants, some have husbands, their families, kids, all new mothers have kids that they're, looking after. How do you feel to be a superhuman who's able to do all of this? And at the same time, you're also on a rocket ship. So how does this feel?
I think all the mothers should answer first.
And I have each one of the thing that you've mentioned there. I think my family has given me that support. You said husband, my husband has a wife. So be it anything in the house, I think we share it together. I have my mother-in-law who takes care of my kids. I have my husband who takes care of my vulnerabilities in and around. I don't know how much I play, but then I think for me, my work-life balance, I can afford to actually spend 24 hours in a day in work because I have that back. So I think it's my family.
What about the others? How are you guys feeling about being superhumans who are looking after all of this?
So I somehow relate to what Sunita said, that there's definitely, the backing that you have at home when your family supports you. It's a big relief that that says there are others who will take care of the rest of the things and you can be at work. So even while you're working from home, like there are so many times when you just have to be on a call at odd times and all, and they all they just handle everything. So I guess it's a big support. I agree with that.
All right, I'll give you my own example, guys. I got married, 2 years back, and I came and started living in a joint family. So I have my husband's parents, his uncles and aunts who are staying together. And initially, I thought this is going to be very overwhelming. How will I start to work? How will I manage work and home? To date, I have only entered the kitchen to pick up my food and probably get a glass of water, but nothing else. There's been like incredible support at home. There was a time when I remember my parents came to meet me here, and my mother-in-law was in the kitchen, my husband was in the kitchen, and I was sitting with my parents and I went out shopping because he was taking care of my parents at home. So I think this is, I don't know if it was like this earlier. I've always seen my father also help my mom out. So I really don't know if my grandparents did that, but I've seen that shift from, my parents, where they were also supportive of each other's careers. And at the same time, I see that happening with me, and I'm incredibly happy with the support that the family has. So yeah, anyone else?
I'll probably answer this question after 3 months.
Got it. We'll do this in 3 months again.
Okay, I want to give a different angle to this, Payal. We sure are talking about family, and that definitely helps, no doubts on that, like, the kind of support and the kind of change in the ecosystem. But what I feel is that it lies on us, the onus lies on us, how we balance our mental health, for example, or for that matter, our emotional health. So there will be times where, work gets challenging. You have a lot of people challenges, you have a lot of process challenges at work, right? And similarly, you might be having an overwhelming day back home as well, right? Of course, we are working remotely right now, but still there is a demarcation, right? So over there, I feel how I personally balance my work life is I rely on spirituality a lot. So to each of its own, right? So for some people, it would be yoga. For some people, it would be gymming. For some people, it would be just an outing, just a walk, maybe. So I feel that is equally important. And the onus lies on us, on how we balance our emotions, how we make sure that we are not bringing work to our life and not getting our life challenges at work. So I think that is equally important. And of course, the family support is really needed. Otherwise, we would not be able to, devote startup working hours per se. So that's there.
Thank you, Sonali. Very well said.
I
Anyone?
would say something. So I agree with Sonali. The onus is on us. But we have to realize that majority of us are from India and we can afford help at home. We can afford families living with us. I'm living with just my partner, my fiance, and I'm more or less alone at home, but I have two people helping me out in a 2 BHK. So it's easy for us to say that we have the luxury. I can't say stuff about people abroad, but I know I've heard from my friends, it's really difficult. And what helps them and what has helped me also is the support I get from within the company. That's the support that I get. So if I am having a particularly overwhelming work day, which was in the sense work at home day, I have a lot of work at home. And I just get up and go and tell JP, and like, JP, I have to do these things. I cannot postpone them. And unfortunately, they lie within work hours. And they jump in and help out with work. And that is extremely important to have that transparency in the team. And I know that our transparent calendars help a lot. If I'm out of office without telling anyone, I can just put it on my calendar and everyone knows, at least by default, that I'm not available for whatever reason. And I actually put that I'm sleeping, I'm eating, I'm in the gym, everything's out there. So it really helps me categorize household chores and work. I have half an hour just, our entire team actually has half an hour just to recuperate from the entire work day. There's a 6 to 7, we don't bug each other. And that's an unsaid rule we follow. We've never told each other, like, don't reach out to me, but if it's 6 o'clock, we do that if it's required. But I think the support comes to me from within my team and the company itself. And
And that is where our culture is also playing role, this flexibility, right? If this was not there in our life, many things would have been very different.
and if this flexibility wasn't there, I wouldn't have 2 careers.
Yeah,
But you know, something, I'm sorry, but something very interesting just has hit me as you all are talking. Working remotely, I think, is normalizing the field between men and women.
yeah.
I have been, I mean, I've worked in offices and traveling and where you give 24/7 to your job. And I have watched it safe with fascination to see the number of men who are taking calls while they're driving their children to something, to hear the children in the background, to just see that there's a total blending of what used to be the woman's role, to be watching the child while the man, you know, put on his suit and went to the office. And now, because he's not in an office, he's free and available to be helping to pick up the slack and balance it. And it's an extraordinary equalizer. So who knows where the next 5-10 years will be and what it will look like.
100% agree with you, Erica. I think it is changing. It has changed, and it's become it's like an equal responsibility today, whether home or work. And I think people have started to see that women were managing this alone earlier, but now it's a shared responsibility. So, all right, guys. Now we all agreed that there was a bias in the tech industry earlier on. How did you guys combat these biases? If you look back at your career, what would be one thing that you would have changed in the working environment to break that bias, if at all you ever faced that?
So yeah, I am one of those who have faced it. My only regret is that I did not stand up and speak the time I was facing it. No, I thought no one would listen to me because the person who showed this bias was a very trusting person within the company. And I did not know, I did not respond. But now I regret, and this is also my advice to anyone who comes in. Whenever you face a bias, stand up against it, speak, hold your grounds. That is the only way to come out of it. You being quiet is not going to help. This is one thing I regret, but this is one thing that I started doing after that. And till now, I'm able to take care of myself.
All right, thank you. Well done on all of
Second,
that.
which would be here, it just brutally put, be louder. if your opinion is being if it's being silenced with some deep voice of a male counterpart, be louder. That's more important. You can politely, or maybe like whichever way you want to say it, just say that the lips moving, still talking. So let's just take that. So yeah, be louder. That's one thing which I've learned over time. And yeah.
All
I
right.
would say one advice would be, be proud of what you're doing, because you're doing it in your own unique way. So just be proud of that. Earlier, there was a time when we used to be, I mean, when I was a kid, I was told, oh, what a good embroidery you have done. I was like, yeah, maybe whatever. But then when I got to know the guys are learning electricity work in there used to be a SUPW. I was so frustrated. I literally went and complained that why do I have to do embroidery? I don't like it. So just be proud of what you're doing. If you are proud, your inner self will give you that strength to take it to next step, next.
So
just-
drawing from what Sunita just said, what Shubhi said, a lot of times people around us don't realize that they have that bias. For instance, just a few months back, I was constantly being told to schedule calls, like, Shweta, do this, set up the call between X and Y. I know, why should I do it? There are 3 other people in the team. It's okay, I don't mind doing it once or twice. But then I realized that it was just the girls who were being asked to schedule the calls. Why? Because there is this perception that we can do it better, but that's not true. And as Shubhi said, I pointed after 3 or 4 incidents, both of us got annoyed. Like, there are boys in the team and they know how to set calls on the calendar. Why don't you just ask them? And that sort of jerked the person, and they're like, I didn't realize I was doing it. And while they were gracious enough to accept that they had a bias, a lot of people aren't. And that's when you need to be louder and you need to create that. But a lot of times just a small nudge is enough, and then they're more careful in the future. I think, yeah, just making them aware is the first step.
I feel having our facts right is equally important, because like I've learned it hard way. Whenever there were facts which were not very strong per se, or let's say the data analysis and things like that, then you lose out on the ground. And when, especially in the tech industry, men are definitely louder, and they are talking, and they are basically cutting you as well. They're talking at you. So you really need to have your facts and figures ready when you present your case. It is equally important for you to have that sort of acumen, and the prep work should be done. So that would be my piece of advice that I've learned really hard way.
Anyone who has, done something to sort of break that bias, or any advice that you have for women who are entering the tech field?
Yeah, I have done it. I'll tell to the very same person the next time he came to me and said, because of you, this has happened. I went back to him and said, because of you, I am also depressed. I made sure that I reply back that this is what I've done. And I've also sometimes felt that I'm not the first choice, no matter how hard I work. Probably because I'm too sweet and I accept anything and every decision that comes into picture. So one thing that I have made a change from my end is now I don't. The decision that is not in line, just like every other man who does it, they reject the proposal. I also do that with the valid arguments, of course, with why it shouldn't be like this, why it should be like this. But I've started doing it. So speaking with the right facts, and not taking anything and everything that comes on your way just because you don't want to hurt someone else's feeling is something are the advices that I want to give, because as a woman, we are more emotional. So we always worry what if that person does not like what we say? We don't want to hurt that person. But this is not how things will work in the long run. You'll have to take a stand.
Just adding to it, what I feel is wherever you go, you will have these biases. So you just need to stand for yourself. You are representing, what I feel is you are representing the whole womanhood there. When you are working anywhere, I would say. So you just need to stand for yourself and the womanhood. Just be yourself, and maybe accept there are differences in the society, but definitely maybe we can work towards it. We can educate people, and this is how we move forward.
Erica, Rajshri, Rachita, Sanjana, anything that you would like to share?
So I would say that while in college, the ratio of boys to girls was 10:1. So yes, we had to face certain certain biasness there. But yes, we have to make sure that we are heard. People just don't hear us. We have to make sure that our work is good enough that it requires their consideration at least. So yes, we made sure that that thing happens. I mean, for the 4 years, and I haven't had a lot of experience in the industry right now. So that was the last experience that I had. And yes, we have to just make sure that we are heard. The work is good enough and it needs consideration. That's all.
All right.
I think it's so inbuilt in the way we are brought up. It's so ingrained in our minds that we are different, that no matter how hard someone tries, knowingly or unknowingly, they'll do something that will look like a bias. So from not an advice, but what I feel is that if we have to break this barrier, we have to start way before a woman comes into tech industry. And like Sunita said, right? Why arts? Why am I doing the embroidery? That's where it has to start from the very school, from the first day a girl steps into school. At least in India, we were told that we have to wear a very long skirt. It has to go otherwise. The perception has to change from there. Otherwise, no matter how hard you try it, we in engineering language we call it putting bandages in the code. You're not fixing the root cause, you're putting the bandages everywhere. So you have to fix the root cause in order to, combat. We have moved ahead. I think after 10 to 15 years, we'll be at a very good position. But to be neck to neck, that's the place to start from. Engineering mind talking.
Guys, I was terrible at embroidery, so nobody gave me embroidery also. Like
I am terrible at
I just didn't have a creative side. Like I remember my biology teacher. So I was one of those people who's done physics, chemistry, maths, and bio. I don't know why, but I remember my biology teacher calling my mom to school this was in the 10th grade. And she showed her a picture I had drawn. And she's like, can you tell me what this is? And my mom is like, looks like a mushroom. She's like, no, this is the human brain. This is what your daughter has drawn. And my mom was like, oh my God, she's so terrible at drawing. So drawing was never an option for me only. I never got to stitch clothes, never do embroidery because I was so terrible at it.
I am terrible with handwriting also. I mean, my teacher made me sit outside of the classroom, made me write again. It was not good. But I like to especially mention that my parents, especially my father, has made sure that he never ever differentiate between me and my brother. We were both given equal opportunities, no matter what. He never asked me to do this because you're a girl. He was there with me in every entrance exam of engineering that I went. He was there with me on the first day of my job to drop me there. So that's the role even a dad plays in a girl's life.
So baby steps, guys. I think we're all moving towards, combating these biases. Eventually, starting to live in a world where there'll be no bias for women. And I think, like Erica, Sanita pointed out in the very beginning of the discussion, we have to make this change within us first, to not feel the bias and then sort of move forward. Thank you guys so much for coming together for this session. This was wonderful. Loved all your thoughts and ideas, and we'll do a lot more of these sessions. Thank you so much, guys.